gives me a great pleasure to welcome you all to this important occasion of welcoming our executive. Minister, with your new portfolio as Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, not only will you bring renewed hope and energy, but most importantly, the much needed inspiration to our management and staff in the unfolding of the new dawn. We pledge support to you for every step of the way we undertake to deliver to the best of our abilities. I commit my management team and the staff to rally behind you in all the work you do. A team of seasoned diplomats who display nothing but selflessness in the delivery of our foreign policy objectives, working with our partners at both home and abroad. Together we'll put our shoulders to the wheel to attain the goals we have set ourselves to achieve as a department. With the current state of our economy, we will continue to do more with less, thus exercising fiscal prudence. At all material times, mutual cooperation and cohesion will be the hallmark of our approach to our work. This becomes even more critical now than ever before, as we are preparing to assume the chairship of the continental body, the AU, and just subsequent to us having assumed the non-permanent seat in the UNSC, we rely on your capable leadership to guide us to give effect to various complex global challenges faced by the Global South in particular and the entire world in general. We're also aware that you stand not only for your cause as a leader, but also take responsibility and motivate us as a collective to work harder, better, and deliver on what we have been sent out to work on. Honorable Minister, today we assure you of our trust and dependability. We are a cadreship of trustworthy and dependable men and women who seek nothing less than the best for this country. In us, you have the best of what you can wish for. We will work with you, we will support you, because proficiency is a major driving force in advancing the imperatives of our NDP. We will be there when you send us to execute ideas that seek to contribute to humanity at all. Honorable Minister and Deputy Ministers, with your leading these committed men and women, there is no doubt that our vision and the vision of our sixth administration will be translated into reality. I'm just stealing from the wise words from Warren Bennis when he says, leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality. Through your leadership, there is no doubt that you will infuse a sense of positivity and direct us as we navigate our foreign policy pathway. We will be driven by your frankness, experience, general efficacy, and conscientiousness. It is well known that leaders who possess such traits are goal and results-oriented. Honorable Minister and Honorable Deputy Ministers, in you, we have such leaders. We don't have doubt about that. Working with you, we will repair what needs to be repaired. We will correct what needs to be corrected. There is an opportunity for each and every one of us to coalesce. In championing our foreign policy discourse under your leadership and stewardship, team, and I don't have any doubt that what I say is not from their minds, deep-hearted ideas that come from them. I therefore, without really making a speech, want to welcome our Minister.
I've often had occasion to confess to President Kgabo that I have no diplomatic skills whatsoever. So I used to tell him I'm very bad at the protocol matters. But I've promised President Ramaphosa I'm going to learn. And I'm illustrating to you that this is my beginning. Well, I must say I'm very impressed with the Director General because he obviously knew what was going to happen today. And he had a very good speech. Thank you, DG. So as he was speaking, I wrote down a little short note here that I shall try to speak to. Let me begin by saying that I've been minister in 4 different departments, and it's the first time I've been a minister in a department that has an auditorium with a proper sound system. So I feel as though I'm suddenly making progress. Well, let me begin by just saying a little bit about what I believe drives us as South Africans. And of course, I must begin by saying, and it's important for you, as the Department of International Relations, we are driven to some degree by our history, by who we are and what we seek to become. Because you would know, as we waged the struggle for freedom, our leaders placed great reliance on the international dimension of the struggle, and were in fact masters and mistresses at persuading the international community that our struggle for freedom was one that the whole world should support, that we were a people who were experiencing a form of oppression that had to concern all humanity. And so, as part of the liberation movement, we were able to persuade almost the entire world to join in. In some countries, it may have been hundreds of adherents. In some, it might have been less than 20. In others, it was thousands. But everywhere we laid our foot, we were able to persuade that an international dimension was key, strategic, and imperative for us to win our place in history. So we must always remember that our history, the nature of struggle we put in motion, is extremely important and is part of the armor that we bring into our role as the Department of International Relations and Cooperation. It is part of what drives us. I also think that we are driven by our aspirations as a people and a government and a department. Our aspirations for the world, our aspiration that the world can be a better place, our aspiration that Africa can develop, our aspiration that the fact that we're free and the fact that so many were with us side by side as we walk to that freedom means we must walk with others. So our aspiration is always that we will have as a bastion solidarity and interest in the condition of others. But our aspiration is not just for ourselves as South Africans. It's for those who are oppressed in Myanmar. It's for those who suffer in Palestine. It is for those who have no democracy in a range of conditions in the world. Our aspiration is that we'll make the African diaspora's cooperation a reality. That we will, as people who come from a community of the oppressed, that we will use our numbers, our strength, our character to rise. We have national ambitions as well. We want to see the condition of the people of South Africa change. And again, our department is strategically important to achieving that change, to securing again international solidarity in support of changing the condition of the people of South Africa and of the people of the continent of Africa. Nothing we do is for ourselves. So when we travel and we're part of the Minister's protocol, we're not just there for a visit. We are there to secure support for the aspiration. And we must always remember that. If our international work is not leading into ways of remediating our challenges, we're not succeeding in our work. If we're not securing more trade, more opportunities for human resource development for our young people, more infrastructure for our country, for countries on the continent, if our region is not thriving, our work is just international relations. It's not cooperation. So we have ambitions for our national aspirations. We have ambitions for our continent. We have a role to play in making the African Union the best regional organization in the world. It's our ambition. It's our aspiration. We must seek, in harmony with all the countries on the continent, seek to make this a reality. We cannot have a mediocre African Union. We must have a quality African Union, able to act on its mandate, able to execute our aspiration, our ambition. We can't allow a unipolar world to emerge. Multilateralism got us where we are. A cooperating world got us where we are. And we must be advocates that alone you cannot succeed, together you make a difference. So the emerging attempt to create the notion that there can be some nation that is dominant on all our international ideas must be one we reject with contempt and strength. Because institutions and nations must work together for the betterment of all. And this must be a driver. And that's why in all our documents we talk of Africa and the world. Well, we are confronted by a range of very, very challenging tasks that must be addressed by South Africa. We've got to ensure that we find ways of responding to inequality which confronts so many of our people, women, young people, particular communities. We have to find responses to their concerns. We must address unemployment in our country. Our people cannot live in harmony if they have no livelihood, if they have no hope, if they have no opportunity. We must address poverty. All of this can only be done if we achieve growth in our economy. And our department is central with others to helping to make that happen. In order to be able to do this effectively, I think, and these are just DG preliminary thoughts, urged because you made a speech and I had to say something. But these things cannot be achieved without us becoming experts at our craft. And I rely on you I rely on you as the professional wing to help myself and the Deputy Ministers to make a contribution to our country acting on these very difficult, seemingly intractable challenges. I rely on you to say, Minister, if you just concentrate on that corner of the world, there are 10,000 likely jobs. We will advise you on how you pursue them. But we've been doing our leading, we've been gathering our intelligence, we've been talking to international colleagues. We think there are 10,000 job opportunities there. We say, Deputy Minister, there's a likelihood of creating 500 entrepreneurs. If you could just concentrate for a while on this set of companies that are from countries A, B, and C. They're keen to meet financiers in our country. And the promise is entrepreneurship. We cannot be in the business of a tourist agency. No, no, no. We are in the business of pursuing those initiatives that will redress the challenges our country is confronted by, that will ensure we address these things, and that they don't become part of our lexicon forever. We cannot, for more than the number of decades we've had of freedom so far, keep referring to inequality, unemployment, without us saying we have reduced it by such a proportion. We have redressed it by such a proportion. And we know that that change, that reduction, came from our international work. We must be results-oriented. And our country's problems are the things we must address. We'll look very good, you know, when we travel. Hey, say, Minister Pandor is around, speaks good English. They'll even be very happy and say, yeah, le ministre d'Afrique du Sud parlait un petit français. But we don't seek them to know what we do. We seek them out to get them to assist us to change our people's condition. And the more we do that, the more our people will understand why we exist. And we here have the intellectual capacity to derive those international activities which will give us the results I'm referring to. And I'm hopeful that as we report from year to year, we will be able to say, we did these things, we impacted there. Because we understood that we exist for a purpose. We're a strategic department, playing an extremely important role. We have the possibility of effecting fundamental change in many, many international situations. But we also have the opportunity to use the spaces we occupy to ensure fundamental change in the condition of our people, using our expertise in the international domain. So I look forward to learning from you. I look forward to working with you. I'm going to ask you lots of very weird questions, because I don't know protocol, I'm not good on diplomacy. I told the President, I'm going to really work hard to learn, not to speak immediately, not to react, because I'm a guy reacting. I'm just going to hold myself and say, hey, Naledi, I'm a bit. And then I'll speak after that. So I hope to learn from you. And don't worry if from time to time, you just see me popping into your office, because I've got that funny habit. And I sit down. sit down and I'll say, Kinenwe, I'm Jele. When's I like and so from time to time, I will come to you and we will have chats. How do you see things? Where do you see this department going? Our president has great hope in us. He believes this is an extremely important department, and he has reposed a great deal of trust in myself, in the deputy ministers, in the DG, in our DDGs and all the senior management, in our ambassadors, and I expect all of us will work really hard. The last thing about me, 8:30 means 8:30. And I'm not saying it because of New Dawn or impressing anybody. It's just something that I believe in. I also believe in values and ethics. I abhor corruption. And I abhor abuse of others. So we must internalize in our heads that women are not here for us as their toys. We must understand that. We must appreciate as well that we're a non-racial country that observes the principle of non-racialism. So don't come and use a race ticket with me. Doesn't work. I believe in competence. I believe in hard work. If you work hard, I'll try to work as hard as you. You won't find me wanting. Non-racism, non-sexism, democracy, a united South Africa. I also believe in intellectual rigor. So from time to time, I hope that one of the things we will do is, and I'm sure you already do it anyway, we will have seminars with external people and just learn more about international relations and refine our craft through exchange with others. So we will enhance our intellectual attention and scrutiny to this area of our work, so that wherever we go, when we open our mouths, we'll be among the best, because we'll know what we're talking about. It won't be short. So, thank you very much for being here, and thank you for welcoming us. And the deputy ministers are part of the team of the ministry. We have a ministry. We don't have 3 different offices. We have a ministry. I'm the political head. We have a director general, who better be good at being a director general. We have senior managers who must be good senior managers. We have middle management on whom we often rely because they ensure the processes are carried out properly. They ensure that we do comply with all the edicts of our laws, the PFMA and others. Some of them control budgets. They will execute the programs properly in terms of the mandate they have been assigned. We have supply chain management, not for our relatives, but to ensure that the law is observed. Our support for employment and economic growth means if we contract any service, we pay for it on time and properly. And we will ensure that we don't ask for a 10% from any contractor, and even if we ask for a 0.5%, we will face the hawks. So we will repose and do repose a great deal of trust in our supply chain teams to execute their role properly. One of the things we don't want are qualified audit outcomes. We should be heading to be the best. Wherever I am, I've always asked the team I work with, because we're a team, let's aim for excellence. There is nothing, not in any of the great books, the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, all the sayings of Buddha, which say we must aim for mediocrity. As human beings, we were created in the image of the Almighty because He believed we could be great. And that's what we must be, great. Excellence must be our driver. Anybody who's mediocre, just say, hey, Chumi, takwa. And I don't mean by that, I'm not a fancy person. I'm simple, quite humble. But if I've got a job to do, I try and do it to the best of my ability. Until it's done, I don't sleep. I don't take long with submissions. I hate twiddling my thumbs. So I like to work, because I believe our country needs us to work. Our people need us to perform. It is possible for us to change our condition. It is possible for all of us to make a contribution. But to do it, we must work hard, diligently, and with excellence in mind. Looking at you here, I see excellence shining from your faces. And if you can see already mediocrity, just come and go by DJ, all right? But thank you very much, and I look forward to us working together. Thank you.
You may